back to serious business. I think we heard from a lot of entrepreneurs today, and I think a helpful framework to look at this conversation is to assume in the audience there are a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, and you three guys are Vietnamese entrepreneurs or based in Vietnam, and so how about we kick off by introducing yourself, but weaving in sort of your founding story, and this is your chance to also pitch a quickly your business. How about we start over there with Kiều Anh, and then we go one round here.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Kiều Anh, and I was actually born here, grew up here. I spent a decade in the UK, and where I studied and found my career and got married. And I started out in the design industry, and after a while, I just felt like I wanted to do something closer to my roots. So I moved back to Vietnam, completely confused and shocked with how things change. And I really wanted to do something for myself, but not sure what to do. I thought I would still do design, but somehow it happened. Now I'm selling bags. So I'm basically owning a company that make bags from recycled tarpaulins, which is a kind of plastic that you could find everywhere on the streets in Vietnam. So we found them, we cleaned them, we designed the bags all our own. All the production happened in our workshop in Saigon. And we are entering our 5th year, and we are going strong.
Thank you so much. Let's move on with Psycho.
Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Bảo. We're really happy to be here today. So I was I'm co-founder of Gohub, which is a travel eSIM startup. And it's a pleasure to be in the same panel with two very talented founders as well. And so my story begins actually when it's really connected with Chris' story in the morning. Actually, when he mentioned the happy and poor stage, so I was happy and poor founders before, because I'm a traveler myself. So most of my budget was spent on traveling. And actually, when traveling, there's one question that keep popping up in my head, and this is one of the reasons why I founded Gohub later on. This is why it's difficult for tourists to access to free internet or to internet easily in overseas. So later on, I worked for a few global travel companies to explore the markets. And later on in 2018, when I met my co-founder, Trung, who is also back from Singapore, so I was working in the same company with him in Singapore. And we talked to each other to see that why does a simple products like a travel SIM card, but it's not been properly sold or handled by a company in Vietnam yet. So we started Gohub by just selling travel eSIMs to travelers, Vietnamese travelers going overseas. And actually, after 1 year of set up the company, the best thing and also the worst thing came to me at the same time. So the best thing is that we got the first $1 million in revenue in the first year of operating, and the team is up to around 20 people. But the worst thing is when we first moved out of the investor office and rent our own building, getting more people, COVID come, and just like all the companies affected by COVID, we totally shut down. And later on, what triggered us to come back is that when Apple, they released iPhone 14, which is only support eSIM in the US. So I talked to my co-founder, we gotta catch the trend, because imagine not only serving Vietnamese traveler having the internet problem, we can serve global travelers that have a similar problem, billions of them worldwide. So until now, I think we have scaled our revenue pretty well, and we have served like more 400,000 customers worldwide. And I think the bottom line here is that you can totally build a local company that can go global in Vietnam. And because all the things are here, you just need to connect the dots. Yeah.
Cool. Congrats on 7 figures as well. Next, Phoebe.
It's great to be on the stage with you, as we're both ex-Googlers. So for the audience, we used to work in Singapore, and both of us are startup founders here in Vietnam. Quang used to be this, I would say, the top performer, the celebrity within Google in Singapore. So it's an honor to be here on the stage. Same with you. So what is my story? I'm an underdog, village girl, farm girl. Was born in the village of in the north of Vietnam. Very different from Chris' story and this morning. I picked up my English in an orphanage there, and from that little village, I traveled around the world for a fair bit, from Toronto to Vancouver, Bangkok, Saigon, and currently I reside in Singapore, but my startup is based in Vietnam. I am a tech executive turned distiller. So what I do is I make alcohol, traditional Vietnamese rượu. And my dream is one day rượu will be able to compete with other global liquor categories, same as sake, soju, tequila, whiskey, you name it. So that's the big dream. We're sponsoring the after party later, so come and try out rượu.
Thank you all. And I would be curious, and I think many of us, to understand, there are so many countries in the world. Yes, we are Vietnamese, but is there any specific reason for you to choose setting up company in Vietnam? Maybe same order?
It would be easiest to start in Vietnam. When I came back to Vietnam, I thought if I couldn't make it here, I could try Hong Kong, I could try Singapore, Thailand maybe. But I remember in my last few years in the UK, I started to have a lot of dreams about places in my childhood. I know it's a little bit cliche, but you, when you grow older, you do feel like you want to be connected to where you were. So I came back, and at first I thought that maybe I would just do design, bring everything that I had known in my last decade in the UK back here and just start with that. But it still didn't nourish me as I thought that I would feel. It didn't feel like this is what coming back would be like. It's too similar to working in corporate in the UK. So the thing about being in your homeland is you feel like you're more confident to just leave lots of other things behind, and you can start again. You feel more safe because at least, I can move back with my mom. I'm not going to be, without a home. So that's why I started out here first. And it brought a lot of challenges. Things have changed so much. At first, when I came back, I had arguments and angers and with everything, with my own family. But after a while, I always thought that I was very Vietnamese when I was in the UK. But when I am in Vietnam, I always thought that I'm quite British. I could So, but the good thing is the support. So, yes, so that's why I started out here. If it didn't work out, just do it again somewhere else.
Wonderful. Bao, how about you? I feel eSIM is a very country agnostic kind of business, and you can go quite global. So why Vietnam? And what's the plan perhaps to go global?
Yep. So I think the first thing is that actually in Vietnam, it's quite easy to build up a team because we speak the same language, we share the same culture, we can work easily with each other. And I think secondly is, the cost here. I think it's very easy to start a business with a very low cost. Rental fee, hiring and operating fees. I think it's very extremely low. And why would we choose a place like Singapore where you spend a lot of money just to operate. And for us, I think for me, the third thing would be is that the people. For me, when I work with a lot of people in Southeast Asia, I found that Vietnamese is very hardworking. They are open to new things, and they are willing to learn new things. And actually, they're very friendly. I think that's one of the biggest reason that I want to base the company in Vietnam. And also we have a lot of overseas Vietnamese joining the company as well, because as we are scaling globally, we need Vietnamese that they have a global mindset and global insight that can help the team to scale as well.
Beautiful. Phoebe, I think it was very comfortable at Google. We have this internal leveling system, so it's quite transparent, where everyone sits at. So what is, your reason to give that up, the golden handcuffs, and be moving back?
It's a really good question. In my life, I never had the idea of one day I'll go back to Vietnam and start a business. My goal my entire life has always been try to climb the corporate ladder, become successful, make a lot of money, get out of poverty. That's the only goal. But how I got that drive to come back is Sharon. So for the audience, Sharon was kind of the most successful female leadership in our org in Google. She asked me the question, Phoebe, what drive you? At that point, I couldn't tell her just to make some money, right? And I did the MBA program at INSEAD. A little bit of that is sponsored by Google as well. And throughout that soul-searching journey, I found that I can't live my life this selfishly, building my own success, giving up my own citizenship, and don't do anything to contribute back to my country. So after the MBA program, I thought that I should do something to connect more with my roots. So that was the thought. It wasn't like, I have this brilliant idea, let's do that. So that to start with that drive that brought me back to Vietnam and do this startup.
There's a very common theme, I think, amongst all of us too. We have this drive coming back. There's a bit of this gap as to what shall we do once we back. And so how about real talk? What were the challenges when you were coming home? And what were the challenges to build your startup? Kiều Anh.
I think people everywhere pretty much have the same values in how you want to be kind and how you want to be honest and how you want to be, you want to take care of each other, but the way we express it is different. And so at first when I first came back, I argued with my dad every day, and I got angry everywhere I went, and because people didn't queue, in the UK it's a big thing to know how to queue and to be polite. And I'm still angry now, but I understand the difference in culture and how things became how they are now. So, but that's still something that I find the most challenging every day, human management in my business. So for Yum Yum, we have the production team and we have the administration team as well. So for the people who work in the office, it's very easy whenever we talk to each other. We're still a small company, but we still have to have company rules and things, and whenever we come to discuss things amongst the office people, it's very easy. But whenever I have to be in the workshop and I have to talk to people who sit at the sewing machines, people who clean the taps, people who go out into Chợ Lớn to buy all the materials, it's completely different stories. Sometimes I go out into the scrap yards and try to buy plastic waste, and I have to pretend that I'm not Yum Yum, because as soon that they know that I'm buying this trash to make it into fashion items, they're going to try to, raise the price, and things going to be complicated. So it shouldn't be like that. But I still find that's the most challenging, to deal with humans. At my core, I'm still Vietnamese. I think I'm a lot more Vietnamese than a lot of people here because I spent 2/3 of my life in Vietnam and only 1/3 in the UK. Unfortunately, I learned how to be adult in the UK, so I still find that's really challenging. And but the thing is, I was lucky to work as a really good company. The last job that I was with in the UK, I was lucky to work at a company where they really invest in people. And I took away a lot of things in how to manage people with kindness, how you could talk to people with different backgrounds to yours. I brought that and back to Vietnam, and I remember how it's like in Vietnam, and the mix of that make how the atmosphere at Yum Yum is really different to other businesses in Vietnam. I think I'm proud to say. We are only 5 years old, but most of the people working at Yum Yum have been with us for, on the average, 4 years. So I think that's something to say about the environment and working at Yum Yum. But I would say that's the most challenging.
And then just zooming in on that a bit, what would be your tips to manage Vietnamese?
I learned to be really straightforward now. I used to be really sort of, it would be really nice if you could do this. But now, no, it's just, please do this in 10 minutes. But you could say with a smile. Yes, for the Vietnamese, you have to be really, really direct.
How has been your experience about managing Vietnamese?
I think managing Vietnamese is not hard because I'm Vietnamese myself, but it's really hard to find people that fit with the culture that you're building. So because for me, I've been thinking about building a culture for the last 12 months. Because before, for us, it's like grinding revenue, grinding users. So we haven't think about culture recently until right now. But I think that is the most importantly when we need to set in the beginning, because like when you manage a lot of people, but they don't talk in the same voice, they don't share the same culture, they don't share the same things, it's really hard to scale. So for me, like think about it before starting a business. What is the ideal comrade that you want to bring into the team? Some values that you think is very important for you, for a team. Yeah.
And what do you find most challenging to build culture with your team? What's the most challenging part of it?
I think it's the hard thing is to figure it out what culture you want to build. If after that part is finished, I think the rest is easy because like a further, you meet a lot of people who fit this culture and you let them in. But I think that the hardest thing is when you think about it. So for me, I would think about who I want to work with the most. What is the ideal person that I really want to work with them, to talk with them, to share a lot of things with them. So at least the value down. So that's from then, from one person, I think about the bigger culture would be looking like. Yeah.
Cool. Phoebe, going back to the question, biggest challenge, what do you feel is top of mind for you?
My top of mind right now, and specifically for my industry, is F&B, right? We're manufacturing, we're producing liquor products. The hardest one is to keep the global standards for the product development within Vietnam, because the team have to make sure that they keep the level of good quality, thoughtfulness, cleanliness, and everything that they do. Is not easy, and it takes time to train people. People complain that I'm too difficult, but they're getting used to it. It's always the thought of like how to be nice and give them feedback, but also making sure that they learn from the mistakes, so that they will not forget it. That's a hard one. I'm trying to find the balance. Yeah.
And how would you describe your management style? Because Kiều Anh said she leans now more towards being direct. How would you see yourself? What's your communication and your management style with your team?
I've been living and working in Singapore for a long time, so the style over there is like straight to your point, very direct. And I bring the same to the culture in Vietnam, and somehow I find it that people don't really like it as much. I don't know why. My team is mostly based in the north. People are very polite, and I'm too straight to the point. I have a brand ambassador who's very, very, very experienced in the industry and very senior. And one time he came back to me and he says, "Hey Phoebe, do you realize that you're very direct?" I said, "I don't even realize it." And so I realized, like, you said that we should be more direct, but what I find is like I should tone down a little bit when giving feedback to people. So very different, right?
Thank you. The screen says, please wrap up, but I would say, can each of you perhaps give us a small tip for aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build in Vietnam, who want to start something in Vietnam? One takeaway of your journey so far, Gohub.
I think when you haven't started out, you would think that the idea is the most difficult part, but I could tell you that it's not. Persistence is the most difficult bit. Ideas could always change shapes. You could always mold it again. You know, there's nothing that we could think of today that's not been done yet by somebody else in somewhere else in the world. So if you want to do something, you feel like you know it really well, then just go ahead and try it, do it. Put it into the Vietnamese waters and see how it's like. And for sure, you will have to change it, shape it, get the feedbacks, and it will happen. But remember to be, being really persistent at it, keep going, because that's the most difficult thing. I just talked to a journalist yesterday that I first met when Yong just started out for about 6 months, and he met me again for the second time, 5 years now, and he asked me about Yong, and I didn't realize I just answered any questions, and then in the end he said, "Oh, so actually you're still doing the very same thing, everything the same, you're just doing it better, more professionally." And I realized that, oh, that's right, that's correct, I haven't changed anything. The products, no. The way I do it, no. More machines, yes. Better workshop, more people, yes, but nothing changed. So I think, yes, please be perseverant and be persistent.
Thank you for that. Bao, if you can, concise.
Yep. I think just a little advice. So I think for me, like, the business is just like a number games. So keep running, keep experimenting, do a lot of things, because that's the only way to learn. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the more the sooner success you will find. So yeah, I think that's it. Just do it right now. Yeah.
Fail forward. Cool. Phoebe, closing words.
For me, it would be about finding your why. Why you pay for the ticket to come here and listen to us sharing, right? So finding your why, if your why is going back to Vietnam, doing something, and that's the driver that gets you out of bed every morning, then perhaps that's the answer, right? But being a founder, you have to be made of steel, physically, mentally, physically fit and strong, because it's going to be hard. But if you have the purpose, you have the why, it will pull you out of bed every morning and make your startup successful.
Thank you all. Let's move on, and a big applause for our panelists.